your Rogue challengers for the June 2024 meta. Hi, Lightsworn. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more on this content. So, as I said, Lightsworn has been, it's kind of trucking along very easily out here. I've seen, you got tier variations. You got the Horus piles cooking out here. This is whatever combination of, good packages that you can get to work together in the same deck to actually work out for you. And honestly, this literally checks the marks of everything Rogue that you want to see in a deck. I'm so happy to see that the RNG has been going so well. We've also had Lightsworn runic. That is such a pile deck to actually get the chance to talk about. And it has been doing pretty interestingly well on some of the lower competitive circuit. Don't count the deck out yet. If you play against it and they go, whoops, there's half my deck. Time to draw a whole bunch of cards. There's a whole bunch of wolves everywhere. You're just going to be very shocked at the random draw mill power that deck has. Salad. Holy crap. Salad in the European regions has been going. This is actually kind of interesting. I didn't necessarily expect to see a Salad renaissance out here, but we had the deck in the OCG that, just kind of smashed through a lot of the competition. And yeah, it made top 4, but that was just kind of it. We kind of looked around. We're like, okay, well, this was an OCG thing. What was it? Out of the French nationals and some of these other regionals nationals, we've had Salad kind of sitting at the top of the Rogue category. It's not to say that Salad is doing necessarily bad right now. It's just Nib is nowhere to be seen, and I do like to think that Nib not being around in the format is kind of like the natural check to it, not showing up. So for most of what's going on right now in this format, Nib not being here has allowed Salad, and also, Salad's got some very good utility options, 1-card combos out the wazoo. People don't know how to handle it. Yeah, I know, that's freaking hilarious. This one's very early, but Momento. Momento's regional top now, and that's all pre the big fusion monster. So let's take a moment to think about that for a second. You're telling me out here that the big bad, the biggest thing they got right now in terms of their arsenal was the twin-headed Thunder Dragon fusion. Yeah, that was it. That was enough to give Momento some momentum to kind of propel itself up. Also, the 5k guy, the field spell sitting back one of the cards, if you kind of get the toolbox rolling, it is a very strong deck, and people they don't know how to handle it. So that's what a lot of this Rogue stuff is. People don't understand that a big 5k monster, walking, talking interruptions, recurability, all of these tools are the things that can allow these random left field decks the chance to kind of come out of nowhere. Speaking of left field, Dark World. This was the biggest sighting, I think, for this was out of the top 16 of the French nationals out here, where honestly, Dark World is that deck that if you don't get shifted. 2, if you have the nuts, you just make the stupidest boards. Oh, and also you can board wipe your opponent or you can hand wipe your opponent down for 4 cards because of, Cerulean and friends. So the fact that, if you win enough dice rolls, I like to think a lot of variance has to take hold for this deck to be successful. Not saying that it can't, but there are just a lot of factors right now in the meta that just make Dark World not seem like a very appetizing deck to a lot of people. But it is in the Rogue category for sure right now. Oh, that is so exciting to actually see. Congratulations to Dark World returning back to the course of the meta. Oh, is that Goblin Bikers? So I gave this deck a lot of crap on its initial release, but we've seen the Xyz Turbo deck has kind of gotten the chance to come back into the spotlight a little bit. I believe it was, top 4 out of Mexico for their nationals. That we had a Xyz Turbo version of this kind of show up, using the full armored Xyz package to make some, stepping stones during your opponent's turn. Is incredibly good. Also, some of these rank 3 packages I've been seeing these decks do is pretty good. I also did see, it was one that was playing a spider package that would turbo into Varudis. Is that a thing? Well, evidently it is. I had to read some cards when I saw it. I was like, what in the world is this? Don't underestimate you know, what the random exceed pile decks can actually do out here. Because you'll be looking around, you'll be like, oh yeah, I'm just having a good old time. This is fantastic. And then the stack gets bigger and you're like, oh, okay. I mean, this is the natural predator to Purrely. So that's good. Next up is Buster Blader. We've had Buster Blader Dragon Link. We've had, oh man, there was a Dark Magician Buster Blader deck that would, you know, turbo out Dragoons. So basically, you know, your plan is to, you know, trap trick set, do the prologue to make the Buster Blader in case you need to handle, you know, the Tenpai matchup. And then on the flip side of the equation, you know, you'd have Dragoon sitting next to you. So you would have basically the best of both worlds in terms of boss monsters for that build. And the Buster Blader Dragon Link deck, I mean, you're just using the power of Dragon Link to essentially climb up through, you know, the stepping stones Dragon Link would do. Quite possibly put a Boral End on the field, LOL. Boral End next to some Buster Blader BS. That doesn't exactly sound like something that I would necessarily want to be dealing with out here. But you know what? Buster Blader having these, even a slight chance in the meta, is freaking amazing. Next up is Manadium. Manadium lost Baron. And I was like, yeah, this deck is checked out. You know, people are going to abandon this. No. Surprisingly, Manadium has been gaining a decent amount of momentum over the last couple of weeks in the meta. And I don't necessarily know what it is. Once again, I want to point out that Nib is not in the room right now. Nib not kind of being in the format allows, you know, a more roguish deck like Manadium. You know, obviously they still have Dispater. They have some of the, what else do they have? Chaos Angel? I think I saw some builds doing that. Were they playing Apo too? So the same standard BS that a lot of these other builds are doing, but you just set up a very consistent board with reframing. You're using reframing kind of as your negate now, since, you know, Baron got cratered off into a hole somewhere out in the village. Deck is doing all right, and that's what you want to be seeing out here for the Synchro Pile Link. Good stuff, I guess. Centurion. Oh, King Calamity Turbo, baby. That's it. That's Centurion in a nutshell. Though I will say, I have seen some builds out here trying to get away with splashing, what was it, it was like 6 cards. It's a gargoyle, the level 4s, you play 2 field spells, and then the token generator. And you could make some turbo level 12 synchros out here just off of a 6-card splash package in these decks, which is so awesome to think about out here, that Centurion is a splashable package, but the pure build is 150% King Calamity Turbo. That has not changed. That is not going to change anytime soon. I mean, the biggest thing was you don't really go into Legatia, you go into the other searcher now, because just it's the better value. Most people do agree on that. Purrely. So last month I said I thought Purrely would be a very good deck if you were a good, strong player and you kind of knew how to play the deck. That has not changed. The one Goblin Biker player in the room with the grin on their face looking at the Purrely player. We've also gone further from not siding cards to handle this. Some Tenpai builds have been playing Santa Claus to kind of out this. It just means that, you know, they can just re-vacuum up and do something else along the way, but Tenpai doesn't care. They just need to break a board and go. With that being said, Purrely did get the reprints in Rarity Collection too. I think that's enough to kind of put the deck back in the spotlight for some budget players that haven't had the chance to test it yet. I think that will revitalize interest in it, but that should be enough to leave it in the rogue category at the moment for people just to give the deck a shot and see what they can do. And then we have Floowandereeze. No, I didn't forget about birds. All right, this deck has been doing pretty gosh darn good, actually. It doesn't have the craziest amount of tops right now, but I love hearing when Tenpai players are like, oh, I can't deal with a Floowandereeze board. Well, let me tell you, it happens. All right, M-Pen can be a very destructive card, but you have cards to kind of help you out in the situation. It's called your field spell. But M-Pen is still as much of a menace as ever. Nothing has changed on that front. I just wanted to re-emphasize everything is going as it should be with Flu. So those are your rogue decks for June 2024. What do you guys think? Please comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons! Thank you!
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.